As someone who used to believe in hell and now doesn't believe in hell, am I still a little bit scared that I might die and go to hell? I think it can be really helpful to look at the doctrine of hell, see its origin, see where it comes from, see how it developed over time. So when the afterlife is talked about in the Bible, in the earliest parts of the Bible, we don't hear about heaven and hell. We hear about this place called Sheol. It was a place of darkness and dust and dreariness, and it was a place that everybody went, both the righteous and the wicked. Now, this Sheol was very similar to other conceptions of the afterlife by people in the same area where the biblical writers were, right, in the ancient Near East. And then in later parts of the Old Testament, suddenly you see some new ideas coming in, this idea of some kind of resurrection and judgment. And this coincides with the Israelites being in the Babylonian exile and then Persian rule and being exposed to these ideas by the cultures that they were surrounded by at that time. And then a little bit later, they're exposed to these Greek Hellenistic ideas where there's a talk of an eternal soul, and there's descriptions, like physical descriptions of what hell is like. A very hot place, Hades, it's called, which is the same term used for the Greek hell. And those ideas end up making their way into the New Testament. But essentially what you see is that when a concept about the afterlife is introduced in the Bible, it is consistent with the cultural influences that the writers are experiencing at the time. And it changes over time and can be tracked to specific historical events. So to me, that looks a whole lot like people are making it up. Now, I love horror movies, but sometimes the horror can be a little bit too much for me. And in those moments, I have to stop and remind myself, this isn't real. That little girl whose head is spinning around as she vomits all around the room because she's got a demon in her, that's not even a little girl. It's some kind of robot. And there's a guy that is at the end of a tube that's connected to the robot, and he's pumping like pea soup into this little girl robot's head. And there's a director saying, more pea soup. People are doing it. It's a craft. And when I can put that layer between me and what I'm seeing on screen, I relax a little bit. I'm not as scared by it. I think that's how hell works. I think hell is a story that we told ourselves for very particular reasons. And it's a very scary story. And it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you if you think it's scary. It was designed to be scary. It was designed to elicit an emotional response. And it does very effectively. But when we can take a step back and say, you know what? We told ourselves that story, not God. Then I think it becomes a lot less scary.